The PPPC government tabled two critical pieces of legislation, the Local Content Bill and the Natural Resources Fund NRF Amendment Bill, in the 34th sitting of the National Assembly on Wednesday. The highly anticipated legislations seek to foster transparent and accountable management of the emerging oil and gas sector. First up was the historic Local Content Bill, set to pave the way for maximum involvement of Guyanese in the oil and gas sector. The Local Content Bill lays out 40 different services that oil and gas companies and their subcontractors must procure from Guyanese companies by the end of 2022. For instance, these companies must procure from Guyanese companies 90% of office space rental and accommodation services, 90% janitorial services, laundry and catering services, 95% pest control services, 100% local insurance services, 75% local supply of food, and 90% local accounting services. These are just a few of the services highlighted in the first schedule in the Local Content Bill. The Natural Resources Minister explained that as the capacity of Guyanese expands, so will the services in the local content legislation.
Mr. Speaker, the bill is so clear and so simple that every single Guyanese can understand what is in it. Every single Guyanese will know that there is nothing hidden in this bill. It is as clear as day, and it is simple to understand. We will create what we call the Local Content Secretariat at the Ministry of Natural Resources. That is the body that will monitor local content, that will do enforcement, and that is the company that will do, that is the agency that will do the assessment also.
Minister Barrett reminded the House that the legislation will compel oil companies, their contractors, and subcontractors to do business with Guyanese. To see to this, the bill outlines penalties for companies which fail to meet the minimum targets of the legislation, as well as those that are in breach. These fines range from $5 million to as high as $50 million. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, said that the bill needed to be passed as quickly as possible so that Guyanese can no longer miss out on the opportunities they should have had before first oil in 2019. This was in response to accusations from opposition MPs that the government wanted to rush the bill through the House. With the passing of the Local Content Act, Guyanese and Guyanese businesses stand to benefit from $400 million to $500 million annually in terms of revenue. By evening, the government side of the House began debates on the Natural Resources Fund Amendment Bill. This was met with failed attempts by the opposition MPs to block the passage of the legislation that is meant to significantly improve the management of Guyana's oil revenue to ensure greater transparency and accountability. Dr. Ashni Singh, with the support of his government colleagues, stood his ground and spoke in defense of the much-needed amendments.
Mr. Speaker, instead of respecting the consequences of the no confidence motion, the then APNU AFC, a party that is currently engaging in thuggish behavior, unprecedented thuggish behavior in the National Assembly, stayed on in Parliament, refused to respect the Constitution of Guyana, and forced through the Parliament a natural resources bill that in fact embodied tremendous vulgarity.
Dr. Ashni Singh explained that it was necessary to replace the previous act because it had set the stage for abuse by the former APNU AFC government.
These features in the APNU AFC Natural Resource Fund Act were not by accident. They represented another piece in the puzzle. The GCOM puzzle, the taxation of people to death, the political persecution of political opponents, the unlawful and unconstitutional behavior, the ramming down the throats of the Parliament and the people of Guyana, a Natural Resource Fund Act, the pervasive powers of their minister, This NRF Act of 2019 was just another piece in the APNU AFC dictatorial design and intention.
The new act includes a new governance mechanism in the form of a board of directors, reducing the extensive powers of the finance minister. It also sets out transparent rules for the withdrawal of funds and cuts down cumbersome provisions allowing for efficient management and oversight of the fund. The administration also amended the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act to correct an amendment which was passed by the APNU AFC in 2015 and had mandated that constitutional agencies' budgets be sent to the National Assembly in advance of the submission of the rest of the national budget.
This bill articulates a transparent process by which the budgets of constitutional agencies will be submitted, brought to Parliament, considered and approved, a transparent process by which their budgets will be executed, while at the same time respecting all of the other constitutional provisions as they relate to fiscal management, and most importantly, sir, preserves, respects, preserves, and reinforces the independence with which these constitutional agencies will be able to manage their finances.
The APNU AFC amendment had made it so that the process for the consideration of the budget fragmented. The government's amendment will improve the efficiency of these processes so that the budget can be viewed and considered in a comprehensive manner. On Thursday, Speaker of the National Assembly Manzoor Nadir rebuked the disruptive actions of the APNU AFC members of Parliament as the Natural Resources Fund Act of 2019 was being debated.
In every parliament, an attack on the mace is an attack on the authority of Parliament. And that attack on the mace cannot go unpunished. Those who have attacked that mace will have to face the consequences.